Welcome everybody to another shocking episode of Lockdown 23 in 1. That's right, today we're going to be traveling back to a Wisconsin prison to speak about an inmate losing his life just a few hours of going into a new cell. And he was a short timer in a cell with someone with decades. How does this happen? I'm going to break it down for y'all today. So let's get into it, ladies and gentlemen. If this is what you're into, all things lockup and crime related, then this is where you want to be. Hit that like, subscribe, notification bell before you leave, and check out my playlist with many more videos for you to start watching today. Now look, before I get into this story, there's been a lot of activity in the prison system when it comes down to Wisconsin. We just covered a story a couple weeks ago about a warden and a bunch of staff members being fired and charged, facing prison time, and a lot of inmates were dying in that prison. Wopun, I think it was called. But today we're going to be traveling to Green Bay Correctional Institute, or GBCI. And recently, as of August of this year, they were just released from a lockdown. Lockdown meaning they don't go to outside rec, they never come out their cell. And that type of lifestyle in prison is usually for people that get in trouble. They throw you in solitary confinement by yourself or with someone sometimes. And you don't come out except for like 30 minutes to an hour if you're lucky, for a shower and a little bit of rec. In a cage with nothing in it. But these guys are not in trouble. It's the whole prison because it's understaffed. I can't even imagine going to prison where you hear, oh man, it's going to be much better than jail. You get to go outside, do this, that, and the third. Yeah, it could be a little bit more dangerous, but you get a lot more amenities at the same time. And when you get there, you find out that you're on lockdown. Okay, it might only last a couple days. It's all right. Next thing you know, you're stuck in a cell for a whole year. No movements, taking bird baths in your sink on the regular. Right, man? I'd do something to get the hell up off that compound is what I'd do. I don't know, man, but that would drive me insane to be on lockdown that whole time. Also, right before that lockdown in this same prison, we covered a story on inmate CELLMATE. He was doing time for killing 3 people in a drunk driving crash. And while serving out his sentence, he ends up killing another inmate. And it's considered a hate crime. He did it pretty much because of his skin color. In the complaint, it said that he used a giant knife. Man, oh man. So, you know, stuff is definitely going down in GBCI. So I just wanted y'all to get a little feel of what's been going on around here. Believe it or not, this stuff could play with a lot of inmates' emotions and cause them to become violent. Especially if they got a lot of time over their head. I'm not saying that's why the guy that we're about to talk about died. I'm just saying. People getting killed next to you, you're on lockdown for a year. Guys getting left by their old lady, ain't getting no commissary. Food's probably crappy. The prison's old as hell. I think it was built in like 1860. Something like that, right? So, no shower. You know, all these factors can make an inmate snap that could cause someone to die. Now let's jump into the recent death of an inmate from this prison named Micah Loreno. Loreno was sentenced in January 2024 to 2 years in the state prison system for being a party to a substantial battery in Waukesha County, with the first year to be served behind bars and the second on extended supervision. But the complaint and case from Waukesha County said police were sent to a report of a fight between 3 people in the 200 block of North Grand Avenue. Police found a man bleeding from the back of his head and going in and out of consciousness. The wound required staples to close. The victim said that he met Loreno at the tavern with a third man. They left to go to the home of the alleged victim. But when the alleged victim changed his mind about having the others over, Loreno and the second man punched and kicked the alleged victim, knocking him to the ground, smashed the phone, and took his wallet, the complaint said. A witness reported seeing the incident unfold and said one of the men hit the alleged victim over the head with a glass bottle, which broke upon impact. A second witness also reported seeing the encounter, and the alleged victim identified Loreno as they had contact through a dating website, the complaint said. So if I were to guess, they're leaving the bar, club, whatever they're at, probably going back to the house, having a little fun, and the guy said, you know what, there's a little too many guys for me. He probably just wanted Loreno, because he's been talking to him on the dating site. Loreno probably been playing him the whole time, just to rob him, or take advantage of his house, whatever the case is. He snapped out when he said no. Loreno blamed the other man, saying that he was upset when the victim told him he couldn't come, even though Loreno admitted that he stomped on the man's face as he laid on the ground, and then used a credit card belonging to the man to get a ride to the other man's home. So if you were to ask me, Loreno was blessed with just 2 years, only 1 year to do in prison. I swear if that happened in Virginia, a robbery with the guy getting staples in his head, they'd be done for at least 30, 40 years. I don't see how he only got away with 1 year to do in prison, but I guess he really didn't get away with it, did he? because he's about to get a brand new cellmate that he has no idea has way more time than he does and is about to snatch his life. And how did something like that happen? A short timer going in with someone like that? It's because his charges were violent. It doesn't matter if he was only sentenced to a year. Classification sees that crime, and it goes into the bracket with all the other individuals with those crimes. Even though the majority of those individuals nowhere near got only 2 years. So he's a small fish in a very big, dangerous pond. Happens all the time. That's why if you get a violent crime, man, you gotta be ready. It's gonna be a totally different ride than the people with just some simple drug charges or petty theft. But either way, that's how he ends up in the cell with Mr. Jackson Vogel, 24. He was sentenced to 40 years in the prison system in January 2018 for attempted homicide, with 20 years to be served behind bars and 20 years on extended supervision. Vogel was only 18 years old when he was sentenced. Now, just a couple hours of going into the cell with Vogel, Loreno gets strangled to death. What could have caused something like that to happen? Only a few things if you were to ask me, believe it or not. 1, he was mad that homeboy only had a year. Why is he in his cell? 2, he was already planning on killing whoever's coming in his cell next. Or number 3, they got into a little bit of a dispute, and that sometimes happens, especially when a new cellmate comes in, putting their stuff up. Some guys are really state-struck and picky. I wouldn't be surprised if Vogel, who was sentenced to 40 years in prison at 18, now he's 24, done grown up a little bit in prison, he might be state-struck. Had some issues with Loreno unpacking or something. They got to talking. Words got to flying sideways. Next thing you know, they get to rumbling. And a lot of these fights, they end up on the ground. And usually, someone tries to get a little chokehold in, put someone to sleep. Next thing you know, he ain't waking up. Or you meant to kill him because you thought maybe he was going to kill you. One or the other. That's what I'm leaning more towards than anything. Also, it is prison. We can't rule out the racial thing. Just like Skullman ended up killing that man pretty much because of his skin color. Who's to say that didn't have something to play with this one? Also, it could have been his paperwork, but he wasn't in there for no sex crimes. So I kind of ruled that out. If I were to bet it all, I think they just had some kind of dispute. And homeboy Vogel ended up strangling him to death on accident or on purpose. Either way, it took place just a few hours of going into the cell. And like I said, those are trying times. Meeting someone brand new that you're going to have to do years possibly with in that cell. I hated getting a new cellmate. I mean, it's like playing Russian roulette. Looking back at it though, I was blessed. I had a lot of good cellmates. Turned out to be some pretty normal, down-to-earth individuals. But I'm guessing more will come out probably in the courtroom when Vogel has to go in front of a judge. If they do update it, I'll be sure to bring something your way. But that's a wrap to the story. I mean, there ain't too much to it. This type of stuff happens all the time in the prison system, man. You got to be ready if you got some kind of violent crime. Like me, I only had, I was sentenced to what, 3? I can't even remember, honestly. 3 years on my first bid. Wait, no, 5 years with 2 suspended. But they put me in a treacherous prison, man, because I had unlawful wounding. I stabbed someone. They're going to put me in there with a bunch of violent offenders and stop me from doing a lot of stuff that I thought I was going to be able to do in prison. Even in jail, it prevents you from doing a lot of extracurricular activities, like work release, workforce, stuff like that. But man, crazy turn of events. He almost beat someone to death on the streets, goes to prison and ends up getting beat to death himself. My condolences do go out to his family, though. I know he has loved ones. Sad, sad story. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned. I got plenty more content coming your way. That's right, that courtroom analysis is coming soon. Trust me. Also, anybody that's wondering, these hats, not to mention shirts and stuff, will be available for sale on my Etsy page in the beginning of October. In the meantime, though, someone go buy my surf art. Still posted up. Chilling. And the apparel business, I'm definitely going to be getting into. I want to make it like my little side hustle. Possibly make a shop in the city, town, somewhere around here and do prints for people. You know what I mean? Save up my pennies and really get the business going. Always try to find something that you possibly would enjoy to help you make money at the same time. Expand yourself. And one more thing that I got to get off my chest because I don't have too many people to talk to. It's my family and y'all. That's it. But something unbelievable happened to Brittany and the kids when they were going to the Goodwill. And we do this like every 6 months or so where they put all their old toys and clothes in a trash bag and take them to the Goodwill to donate. And there's this guy trying to give the Goodwill all these power tools and a generator. Brittany told me that the Goodwill employee says that we don't accept that kind of stuff. So Brittany says to the guy, I could sure take that generator. And boom, I got a 2000 Generac generator in my garage right now. I think that's what they're called. You know, unbelievable, man. Brittany always getting these snags. But I'm out of here. As always, until the next time, y'all be easy, be safe, and more importantly than anything, stay free.